What's
It's,
up, man? How's it going?
I'm still alive. How are you?
Good, good. Still trying to figure out why the heck you need to generate an Azure function from a open API spec.
Or are you still thinking about that?
I don't know, because I think I responded to you on Twitter and then there was no answer, so I'm like, what the hell?
I replied back.
Oh, you did? It
I
didn't,
replied back
like,
like 3 days ago.
I looked at it, like, it literally didn't come through.
You said,
Yeah, like, what
I
was the use
said, is
case?
there is there any tool for generating an Azure function app with method stubs via an open API document? You said, what's the use case for this mocking? I
Yeah,
wonder if I wonder if you could modify NSWAG to do such a thing. And then I replied on April 3rd,
huh.
I want to generate boilerplate validation logic from the API definition.
Oh, yeah, I checked this last night or yesterday sometime, and there was no response. I wonder if it just didn't come through on the app or something. It's weird. Oh well. Boilerplate validation logic from the open API definition. Huh. Like, yeah,
You're still confused about what I'm trying to accomplish?
yeah.
Okay. All right. So
And did you find a
you
way to do it?
no. So like you expose an you expose an API, and a consumer of your API, they they call it, and usually when they call it, they probably put in some context of what they want done, whether it's a query or a post, right?
Yeah,
Um, so if it's a query, then chances are that they'll probably provide some. I'm going to use a fancy term, invariants, right, or arguments, shall I say?
mhm,
And you want to run validation on those arguments. If it's a post, you want to run validation on that post, especially from a security point of view. So, what if they, within their arguments of a query or a GET request, they provide a very large, I don't know, 4 million character argument that they intend to like crash your app and maybe bring down your system, right? Instead of just okay, boss, and immediately just attempt to run or execute whatever process given the arguments that they passed in. I just want to validate that the code isn't or the arguments isn't going to bring down the system or isn't nefarious, as in like it looks like a valid request with valid arguments passed into it. That's what I'm trying to do. And
oh,
so
was this so?
within so within your like ASP.NET MVC or your minimal API, it's a high likelihood that with Swagger CodeGen, it just spits it out, right? It spits out the stub with the validation just already built into it. There doesn't appear to be the same CodeGen support for Azure Functions regarding Swagger.
So you're trying to
I'm trying to
build?
automate
Yeah,
the validation logic because I shouldn't have to write it by hand.
yeah. Well, you shouldn't. So if you're looking at just the shape of it and possibly the content, I believe your web server or your WAF or something will handle that kind of stuff. So if first of all, you can't send a
Web
query
application
string.
firewall, what's WAF?
Yeah, yeah, the web application firewall for security
Okay.
things. Um, like I don't know a whole lot about it because I just haven't spent time digging into it. But I know, for instance, places I've worked at, we don't put any validation in place, and we'll get things like request too large. That's a web server, I think, uh, uh, that would like reject those. Um,
But what about
but then
cross-site
like
scripting? So, what, like
yeah, no,
injection
there's
attacks?
Yeah, there's ones that will inspect those and look for, things that look that way. I believe the company I
But
work
that's
for
not the
now has
default
that in
though.
place.
That's enterprise grade.
Yeah, there's tools that will do this. I'm sure even open source ones that will inspect it. Every place that I've worked at I've never had to put in. Well, I mean, you write the code so that it's not going to have problems with cross-site scripting. Um, like there's just that's more of a projection on the. It's more of a uh, when you project it back out, you have to handle that in that case. But um, I every place I've worked at have had like firewalls that will inspect the web traffic and reject requests. We actually had one when I worked at this one place. We actually had one problem with this guy who had an email address, and the way that his company's email address worked, it came up with like a token that was used in some sort of like Linux, uh, what requests or whatever, and so it rejected his email because he, like at that layer, it rejected him because it looked like it was a cross-site scripting thing when it really was just his email address. So it's quite funny. But yeah, you don't need to write all that. You can just use a either firewalls or
No, I
configure your
still
web
need
server.
it. I still need it. So another example is I want to validate the length of a value, such as a string, because I don't want to serve my database server that value when the database server for that column it only expects a maximum of 20 characters and I have 100 characters, right?
Well, yeah, I
That's
mean
your
that's,
your
but
your
you wouldn't do
tool
that at a
your
gateway layer. I mean, you'd
No,
do
that's what
that.
I'm saying. That's why it's still relevant for me to leverage validation at the entrance of my Git or my post.
Well, yeah, yeah, that's request. That's like just request validation. I mean, with traditional MVC, I'm not sure about. I haven't tried it with the minimal APIs. But you just decorate your model and say the max size is 20, and it handles it within ASP.NET.
The whole purpose of an open API specification, or one of the advantages of it, is for tooling. I don't want to do all that by hand for every single HTTP
Well,
verb
well, you'd have to someplace you'd have to specify that the max length is 20, right?
in the definition, in the open API definition.
Oh, so you're hand rolling an open API. You're not writing your API and then generating the open.
So So within Open API, within your Swagger editor, you can write your YAML file, right? And you write your
Oh, okay,
YAML,
okay,
okay? Your YAML is going to expose the version of the Open API specification. Is going to have the info. Within the info, it's going to have the description and version, and then you can specify the paths. Within the paths, you can specify the parameters. Within the parameters,
yeah,
you can all that stuff. You can you can specify additional information about the the properties of a data structure, right?
yeah,
In this case, within Open API, it's called a schema, right? So you can
yeah,
specify
yeah,
within that schema like the maximum length, the minimum length, read only, write only. You can specify all that, and so because of all these details you can put into your YAML file, aka this Open API specification, I should then be able to leverage the ecosystem, aka tooling, to auto-generate the validation logic by means of a method stub. So that the validation is already there, and then I just
yeah.
fill out the rest.
Okay, I get it
That's what
now.
I'm trying to
I think
accomplish.
the missing component for me was that you're doing your open API spec. You're starting with that. You're doing your open
Okay.
API spec first, and then you're expecting tooling to take that and produce the thing. But yeah, okay, that makes a little more sense now. So you didn't find anything to like?
Oh,
I
they
know ends.
downloaded my question on Stack Overflow.
What?
I said they downloaded my question on Stack Overflow.
Who did?
I don't know, some jerks. It was a simple question. I mean, I don't expect to write an essay about does Azure Functions.
Oh, downvoted. I got it.
Yeah, downvoted.
Yeah, I think
So,
maybe it was just a confusing question because yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. So I don't know. Yeah, NSWAG didn't give you anything because like if it produced the models with the decorations for string length maxes and stuff like that, you might be able to get away with it. Because then you could just plug it right into
I mean, I have an
ASP.NET.
alternative way of doing it. I haven't
Model
tested
building.
it, but I'm reasonably confident that it'll work because I'm a smart guy. You ready? You ready for the alternative? As much as I hate it, ask ChatGPT to take the YAML file and then
Oh,
generate the
cool.
stubs.
Yeah,
I
that's
haven't
cool.
tested it yet, but I'm pretty confident it's gonna work.
Nice. Yeah, that's sweet. That's pretty cool. Gambler's on. He was gone last week.
I'll get my thing on full screen. Hey, Gambler, you left us last Friday. Someone else took your place.
Yeah, who was it?
We
YouTube
replaced you.
Sensation? No, it was like
It was
YouTube
YouTube
Premium.
Premium. Yeah. You, a user named YouTube Premium took your place.
Yeah, that's
You've
right.
been deprecated. So,
Did I ever tell you that I got DNA testing on my dog? I can't remember if I told you that or not.
you mentioned that. Yeah, I think you did mention it.
Okay, all right. We got the results back. I don't know if I shared them with you, but that was
Was
like a
he
couple weeks
part
ago.
collie, part golden retriever, or not golden retriever? What do you call it? What's the black version of golden retrievers?
Well, black labs.
Lab. Thank you.
We
Black
thought
lab.
he'd be black lab because he looks like a black lab mixed with some sort of wired-haired terrier, but no, he's half golden doodle, so poodle and golden retriever mix, and the other half is half pit bull, so he's a quarter pit bull, believe it or not, and like 11% Rottweiler, and the rest is like super mutt. It's like we don't know that it matches so many different
I bet you
dogs.
that pit bull was probably the father, and it probably raped the female, and that's
Probably.
how it got his DNA in there.
I
Freaking
don't,
rapist.
it actually tells you on the site like the lineage. So it was the mom or the dad that was which one. I could tell you actually if I went and looked. I bet. But yeah, it's
I'm going to eventually get DNA testing. I don't think my father is a legitimate like product of my grandparents. I
yeah
think I
we
told you
okay
this.
yeah we talked about this. So maybe we did
Uh,
talk about this. I just don't remember telling you that he was pit bull poodle.
yeah, I didn't know that.
What a what?
You like this remote? Okay. Yeah, space age.
Oh, Charlie's 91% like him. Um,
I've been going balls deep into security, man. You know, you start studying security within software, you just go down a rabbit hole. Did you know that?
yeah, it's a
Oh my god, I've I probably spent between 100 and $150 on reading material on security in the past like 5 days because I don't know. It's to me, I see like a close relation to like uh, testing, and like I have this weird fetish with testing, and now like I'm being broken in. I was a virgin to security, and now I'm just going down the security rabbit hole, and I'm like, it's addictive, man. I mean,
see.
if you're wired like I am, it's addictive.
So you're spending like just weeknights like on an OWASP, looking at the OWASP top 10.
And instead of
Watching
like
stuff.
waking up at 3 in the morning looking at somethinghub.com, I'm reading my Kindle, like just looking at all these security books. I've consumed a lot of information.
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprising how many people never really get exposed to security things, and then like you like they just don't know, and they'll introduce like SQL injection attacks and stuff like that. It's crazy.
I learned a lot. CIA, triple R's, application security, network security, infrastructure security. Within network security, you have availability. Within the availability, you have responsiveness. The types of attacks, the types of denial of service, I thought was fascinating. So here's a trivia question. All right, name some forms of DOS attacks.
Denial of service attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's like
You
distributed
said
denial,
one.
but
You said
distributed.
two. Okay. What's another one?
Oh,
I found this one fascinating.
a denial of service attack that's not a distributed or most of the time you're just stuffing shit into the services, shut them down. But I don't know. What are the other kinds? Those are just
Domain
data.
DOS.
Okay. Expand on that.
So domain DOS still targets availability.
Mm-hmm.
However, it does it through the business domain. So, for example, I think it was like 2014, Lyft had sued Uber, accusing Uber of running an automated attack where they would go onto the Lyft platform and reserve
Oh
rides
yeah. Okay.
during peak hours,
I got you. Yeah,
and then
that's neat.
cancel the rides where there were no rides available when people would attempt to search for rides, maybe during rush hour. So then they would go on to Uber and be
Yeah, that
successful.
makes sense.
And the same thing happened in India. India has a rideshare app, and they had apparently they had attempted. Well, it's allegedly they had did the same thing to Uber. So, like I said, I started going down a rabbit hole. I'm like, I don't even.
Wow. Yeah, no, I haven't heard of that one, but it makes
And
sense. I
I
mean,
mean, the only way that I think you could pick that up is if you just have key performance indicators and you have alerts registered based on significant deviations from those KPIs
yeah,
that are mapped to business patterns or
yeah.
business activity, business
Yeah, so
operation.
you would probably set up like a alert on. Well, you'd probably set up so like if you had like New Relic for observability, you would probably set up some sort of like metric that says like cancellations per time frame or something like that, and you have that stuck, and then you've got a threshold or whatever, and if it hits
Mhm.
so many, then you didn't start an investigation on it. But yeah, observability is key in those kind of scenarios. So cool. Yeah.
Gamma said, so can you understand why I started going down a rabbit hole?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't know, man. They might try to do a domain DOS on Beach Mobile. Anyways, Gambler says, I get our bug reports from security people. Either I face palm for our stupidity or I am amazed how they found vulnerabilities in our stuff. Yeah, so CIA is confidentiality, integrity, availability. The triple R's are rotate, as in rotate
Key.
key secrets or certificates. Repave, as in, what does repave mean? Repave is because periodically, whether it's hourly or every couple minutes or every couple hours, um, spin up a environment and then swap slots or swap environments so that there's not a persistent persistent something attack. I forgot what the acronym is. Where like they over a period of time, like days or weeks or months, the same attacker is gradually finding out how to penetrate your system one layer at a time. And so by the last R is so it's like rotate, repay. Is it renew?
I was
What's
gonna
the last
say.
R?
Uh,
I keep having to look up this last R. This is like my fifth time
I thought
having
you
to
were gonna
look it
say
up.
something like it's funny, like, and the last R is retard. Like, don't be retarded with your security.
Repay, no, repair. Yeah, for
Repair.
some reason I can't. So whenever there's new patches or new versions of a dependency, such as a package, then immediately just pull it into the system and just have all that stuff automated.
Hmm.
So I learned about OAuth. I got a separate book on OAuth. I consumed that. I found it fascinating, the Jiffy-Hellman key exchange algorithm. Does that sound familiar? I never heard
Yeah.
of it. Never heard of it. How you hear about these things?
Yeah, I mean, they talk about them in security. Like, I've never got into the the weeds of it, but I mean, if you've ever taken like a security course, they'll on
I
encryption
haven't
and stuff,
taken
they'll
a
talk about it.
security course at the university level.
No, I took them for as part of business, like because I worked on one of the first projects I worked on was a revamp of like the credit card processing system at my first company, which was
Mm.
pretty crazy. Like basically they had the credit card numbers stored in the database with like a simple encryption algorithm, which was just like it was a straight up like what's it like a cipher. So it was like this number goes to this letter or whatever. It was pretty stupid, but like super easy to crack. The one saving grace of that company though was that they were on OpenVMS, and ain't nobody know how to hack OpenVMS. So I mean,
Mm.
it was at the time, anyways. But then we had done it, so I got sent to different security trainings and stuff about things, and I know I hated it because it was like almost impossible to implement secure stuff on OpenVMS because there was just like the libraries that you would use on other platforms weren't there. We had our own proprietary protocol and stuff too, so it was a pain in the neck. But yeah. Hmm.
How long was your training for?
It was just like a week long like training thing from I can't remember who did it. It was maybe McAfee or something like or what's it called?
Must be nice to be a full time employee and like the
Yeah,
burden is
here's
on
the book I got it. I
the
think
burden is on the employer to train you on how to do your job. Oh,
I
that's a
haven't
Gang
even
of Four
cracked
book.
it. I haven't
That's a
even
Gang of
no.
Four book.
Yeah, I haven't even cracked it. I don't think,
Mm.
but this is the book that they gave us
It looks like
when
the
we
same
went there.
publisher of the Gang of Four for design
Oh
patterns.
yeah, yeah, it is the same Addison Wesley Professional. But yeah, it seems like it's a pretty high
The
level
trees
thing.
of
Oh, it even
stone.
has code in it.
What
Ooh.
is it?
I wonder what this is. Password authentication. Hmm.
I learned how to write a read once object. Does that sound
A
familiar?
read once object.
So let's say that I want to. I don't want the password to be. I don't want the getter of a password to be executed more than one time. Because in theory, you should only be able to use a password. You should only be able to observe a password once. What other reason would you have to read a password again, right? And so I saw some design patterns to accommodate that. and it's called like a read once object. So it throws an exception on the second time that you attempt to read a password, and it also prevents serialization of that password when it's wrapped inside of a class or a structure. So there's just things I haven't really considered, man. When I say I binge read for like a Hebrew monk for the past like 5 days, I have. I
Yeah.
keep waking up at like 2 in the morning. This is like the third, fourth day.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I was pissed. I went to bed like early last night. I'm gonna wake up early and I'm gonna whatever. I get in bed and I just lay there and I can't fucking can't sleep. So I just
you
didn't.
need to put some Folgers in your cup.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what I've got, but something.
Every part of waking up, Folgers in your cup. They still make those commercials.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think I don't know. It's hard.
That
Like you don't
was
see commercials anymore because it's like you might see them on YouTube, but that's like you don't. Who has got cable anymore? So
my favorite
traditional
commercials
commercials are like dead.
is Folgers in your cup, Big Red, kiss a little longer.
Stay close a little longer.
What are some other
Your
like
head.
they got the hook? Like what are some other commercials that have a song that just sticks
You
in
know
your
what? The
head?
one that I always got was the Skip It one. You remember Skip It?
Skip it,
It,
skip
skip
it,
it.
something, something,
Yeah.
skip
The
it,
very best thing
skip
of all. There's a counter
it.
on this ball.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
catchy.
Yeah, I remember that one. Oh man.
You remember the pogo ball?
The pogo ball.
It looked like the planet Saturn, and you would
Oh
like
yeah,
put your
yeah,
feet
yeah.
on it and
You put
just
your
bounce
feet on it,
around.
yeah.
Uh,
And then remember
remember Crossfire?
oh, Crossfire. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Whenever I
only
would
thing I
watch
remember.
wrestling, I swear to God, they were like the main sponsor of WWF back in the day.
Um, there is this one. I don't think it was a jingle, but it was like, remember, it was like, bop it, twist it, pull it, bop it, twist it, pull. It was the bop it.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I remember the Simon commercials. Remember Simon?
yeah.
The, you repeat it. I bought that for my son. He did not understand it.
Yeah, I think we got one for our kids too. Um, they played for it a little while, but not that
He
big.
played with it for literally 30 seconds and put it up.
Hmm.
And then I took it. And I was playing with it for like an hour.
The best part of waking up, Folgers in York. Damn it, man,
You
that's stuck
got you
in my
got
head
the
all
right
day.
one, baby. Uh-huh.
What was
That was
that for? You
Pepsi.
got the right.
That was
Oh
Pepsi.
yeah, yeah. Pepsi generation.
Ray Charles.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. I remember. Oh man. Yeah, the golden age of commercials are done.
The early 90s and the 80s. What did people do before the internet?
Watch
I
TV, I guess.
know. They were normal.
Normal stuff. Yeah,
The
yeah,
birth rate was at an all-time high. People were getting married.
yeah. Not so much anymore.
Now we're, I don't know. The one percenters are like incredibly smart, but everybody else is incredibly retarded because of the internet. I agree with China's policy, man. The United States needs to have a great firewall. I'm all for banning TikTok. F TikTok. So
Well, I mean, TikTok would just get if you ban TikTok, it would just be replaced by so it's not the way that TikTok's structured that people are mad at. It's the fact that it's owned by the CCP or partially
I,
controlled by
I
the CCP.
understand that, but when you observe or research the content of TikTok in China versus the
Yeah.
content of TikTok in the United States, like China has, for with the exception of the one child policy, which was a bad decision in hindsight,
Hmm.
they've always been strategic long term. And their policy on TikTok and the content that's in it, especially for uh, people under 18. I mean, it's relevant. They're trying to protect their society 20 years from now, 50 years from now, as people continue to grow old. They can't have a whole bunch of useless consumers that don't know how to build anything and can't contribute to the GDP. China is on it, man. It's us that are the retards. So I'm done with my dissertation.
Yeah, I mean, but like it would just get replaced by Facebook or Reels or YouTube.
They ban fruity boy bands because they want to maintain testosterone within their male society so that they can have a strong military with minimal disruption. Like China is strategic. We're not. We endorse all this stuff. So we endorse low testosterone. All right, I'm done minting. It's my second time making that declaration.
So you're gonna start trying to go for security jobs?
No,
I think those are
start
pretty high
watching boy
paying.
bands.
Those are pretty high
Real
paying.
talk. Real talk is
Become a security auditor.
I think based on all the information I've consumed, all the books I've read, I think I'm gonna say, all right, I think I know the
Got the gist.
high level. I think I'm familiar with the high level fundamentals of networking.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, I was studying for my networking certification in Azure. I think I'm about to just go balls deep into Azure security certification.
Yeah, yeah. Security is because there's so many few people that like doing it. I think that I mean, you get into it and really make a footprint.
It's something that keeps me up at night that I'm excited to like learn about. It's weird, man. Why am I wired this way? I like exposing how things could be broken.
Well, there you go.
Society, systems. Like I like that stuff.
Maybe you found your calling finally. Just got an inbred security expert.
You've been pawned.
You could just you could just shorten security expert to S expert. Then it'd be sexpert.
That's a pretty good play on words.
If you remember, do you remember Experts Exchange? That site
Yeah,
that you'd like Google it,
that was
like
Stack
how do you do
Overflow,
this?
right?
It was like Stack. It was
Yeah, it was a
predated,
payment gateway.
but there was like
Or what do you call it? Not payment gateway.
there was at
What's
least a
that
sign
fancy
in like
name? A
oh yeah,
paywall. It was a
paywall, yeah.
paywall.
But when they first went live, they didn't really think about their host name for their or their domain name very hard because they put Experts Exchange. But if you put Experts Exchange together in a single URL, do you know what that spells or what it says? Experts Exchange.
You mean with HTTPS?
No. Like, so your domain name, right? So if you had a domain name
Experts Exchange. Okay.
like Burger King, right? Those are two different words, but you put them together, it's Burger King when you
Yeah.
read it on a domain name. But if you put experts, the word experts, followed by exchange on into a domain name without any sort of delimiter, it comes out as experts exchange.
Let me see. Experts Exchange.
Just read it.
.com or what?
Just read it. Experts exchange.
Oh, I see it. Experts Exchange. I get it now. Okay.
It's just, I don't know.
You literally have to type it in to figure out what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I always got a kick out of that because I hated that site so much because you like Google something. How do you fix this? And you click it, and it's Experts Exchange. Fuck. You go on to
Yeah,
something
you
else.
see testicles and clitoris.
Expert. Some plastic surgery place is pissed. They stole our Experts Exchange site domain. Oh man. How many domains do you own? Randomly that you've bought that you're like,
That I still own, or just in general, how about that I purchased?
oh, well, I guess still own, or how many have you let run dormant?
Beachmobile.app, developersreports.com,
Developer reports.
makemesober.com.
What was that one for? Gamblers only got 2.
Maybe Sober was supposed to be a community forum or something. I'm sure I had a couple more.
I ended up getting a really
you're required to have a domain name for so bizmugger.net. You're required to have a domain name for any app, for any mobile app that you publish.
Mm.
I think there is a quotebuilder.net. Those are the ones I can remember.
I ended up nailing a really good domain name just like last year or 2 years ago or something like that, but I have no use for it. Like I'm gonna just look for domain names, and I grabbed this one. It's tcg.gg, which TCG is like a trading card game, and GG is like good game. So tcg.gg. It's like a really short. Yeah, it's really short though. It's like 5 characters, which it's really hard to get a 5-character cheap 5-character domain name, something that you could use for like a shortener type thing, because they're so expensive. That actually has meaning behind it. But so I've got this like really great domain name. I got nothing to do with it. Like I don't really play.
Have you got bids on it?
No, I thought about putting it up on but the GoDaddy changed the way that they do their thing. Like you used to just be able to say like list it. Now there's like an auction site that you have to sign up for, and I think you even have to pay for it.
Good, because it's annoying, man. I kept on having I'm sorry, I'll say it. I had the entire country of India calling me once I put up beachmobile.app, and they all were asking to do software consulting for me. I'm like, why? My phone was ringing every half an hour, man, for like a month straight.
Yeah,
Once I put up that site.
If you don't put up the or take the pay for the protection or whatever, you'll get hounded. But I don't pay for the protection, but I don't get calls. I'll get emails all the time. But yeah, I've had stupid ones. I've had one I think right now, Run Silo Run. I was gonna get into Orleans and go deep on that, and never did. I had My Life for the Code. I had Uber Orange once. Overtoted. Overtoted was this social networking site that I built. It was like Twitter, but when you upvoted, you would just, instead of like it just getting another vote, it would give it more time. So everything would slowly decay off the site. But as you upvoted it, it would last on the site longer. So you'd add, instead of like you would add 144 seconds or something, or minutes, or 1,444 minutes to every or seconds to everything.
You remember the $1 Million website?
Yeah, I bet it's still up.
And then everybody was trying to copy it.
Yeah. It was a brilliant idea. I mean,
you remember the Whopper sacrifice?
I think so. Oh, yeah.
That doesn't sound familiar.
$1 Million homepage. I wonder how much they've spent like keeping this site up over time. Probably nothing. I mean, there's the domain name renewal. But
the Whopper sacrifice doesn't sound familiar to you?
No, it sounds familiar. I just don't remember it. I don't remember what the context of it was.
It was a Burger King promotion, and they went through Facebook, and for each friend that you remove or that you sacrifice on Facebook, you would get like $1 off a Whopper. So people just started deleting all the friends on there, and Facebook took it down. But that was funny, man.
I wonder how many of these sites on the $1 Million homepage are still available.
The Whopper sacrifice. That was brilliant marketing, dude.
There's just so many just stupid like things on here. Harmony chip. USApoker.com.
They probably have a whole bunch of gambling sites and escort sites.
TopSportWetten.com.
Click on
One
one
of
of
the
them.
world's leaders in sports betting.
Sure.
20-cent pixels. What the fuck is this? Need a credit card? Bad credit history? No problem. Free.
They probably have tax help companies on there.
The Million Penny page. There's literally like advertisements for a page that does the same thing
Yeah.
on the $1 Million homepage. This was 2005, really? I
It was a
suppose.
long time ago. Yeah.
But I don't think of 2005 being that long ago. But
I know. It sucks, doesn't it?
yeah, it's like really that's 20 years ago.
Because I
If we
remember
were
I
in
went to
like
I went to Daytona Beach for spring break in 2005, and I still
2005,
remember
yeah,
that
I
day
got
like it
married.
was yesterday. Or I remember that trip like it was yesterday.
I got married in
Lisa?
2005.
Oh
2005
wow.
is when I got married. So 20 years, man. It's like if you're in 2000, it'd be like 1980. Just it boggles my mind. Oh
I'm
man,
depressed now.
yeah, time flies.
I miss those commercials, Folgers and Big Red, all that stuff. Like, I'm done venting. I just don't like what we've become in regards to society.
Stay close a little longer.
I wish I could go back in time and murder Steve Jobs before he created the iPhone. I wish I could go back in time and murder the creators of Instagram.
Somebody else would just fill that gap, though. It was just bound to happen.
Yeah, but at least I would be like impotent and not have the same. I would rather postpone it like another 30 years.
You'd be
Like so
the way you phrased that was weird.
well,
I'd be impotent. What?
because
quite a leap.
There's been a huge drop again in the birth rate, marriages, and it's just I think a lot of people would agree that's been around, and that could be debated that it's more challenging to date and find love today, especially when you have dating apps like Tinder, and then you have Instagram, and someone that's in like Hicktown, USA, that really normally wouldn't have much of a selection of men to choose from, now have like 100,000 followers, and they get like 50 DMs a day from guys that are all over the world willing to fly them in, and so it's just a lot of competition in the marketplace.
Yeah, I never put that together.
It's horrible for young men, like to be like 18 to I would argue 25 and not really have your earning power kick in yet if you have been disciplined. Not, I mean, that's the biggest part. And then you have like physique and maybe some other factors. Like, it sucks to be them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a problem that I see.
You're married. You're out of touch.
Yeah, but I mean, I know people who are like single and younger, and they're meeting people just fine. I mean, I don't see it here, but I understand. Like, it's kind of a interesting.
You
point,
live in a
though,
small
like,
town.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just got to move to a small town, man. Try that in a small town.
I had this conversation. I had this conversation yesterday, man. I still would like entertain moving to Amish country.
Yeah, just do
Finding
it.
a wife.
Take
Keep
like
things
3
simple.
wives, man. You can get like 3 out there. No. Haven't you watched
Well,
the
the
show
cost is
Sister
low.
Wives? Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, I know like common male names are like Jebediah and Delbert and Nathaniel. What are common women names that are Amish? I can't think of
Oh
any.
man, I don't know.
Wilma, go milk that cow and bring it to me
Amish
afterwards.
female
I can only think
names.
of Wilma.
Abigail. Mary, Elizabeth,
Betty,
Esther,
Betty and Wilma,
Joanna,
Flintstone
Rachel,
characters.
Leah.
I was
They're
straight.
Hebrew names, so Emma, Rebecca,
It would
Esther,
be better if they're
Liz,
like,
Ruth,
I mean,
Mildred. Ooh,
I'll have
Mildred.
more
Find a
options
Mildred
if
to marry, man.
I wish there was a black sect of Amish. I was straight.
You could
I
start
guess
one.
I could start one, right?
You could be the guy. You could be the great
Mm-hmm.
leader.
I could be a cult leader. I'm not saying they're a cult. I didn't say that. I actually hear good things about them. I like them. That's why I'm interested. So I like the simple life. It's just too bad you can't be a software developer and be Amish at the same time.
I don't know. There might be a case
It's a
in there,
conflict of
like, so Amish can't own the technology, but they can use it. So like when you're like if
that
they
would
were
mean
going to
that they
build
have
a
smartphones.
no, I mean if you don't own it though, you can't
How do you
own it.
not own a smartphone?
What?
Who's going? Smartphone is personal. Who's going to loan out their smartphone?
Well, if somebody else physically owns it and lets you borrows it to you,
Okay, let's go back
I
to what
don't
I
know.
said. It's too bad that I can't be a software engineer in Amish country and be Amish at the same time. It's a conflict of interest. So that's what I was saying.
I don't know. This feels like a
So
really
what?
good skit you could
You could loan me a computer. You can loan me Visual Studio. You can loan me SQL Server. You can loan me Azure. Like I don't get it. Well, I mean, cloud is loaned. Yeah, I think your argument breaks down
Yeah,
or
I'm
falls
trying to
apart.
think like you should start a YouTube channel about being the Amish software develop black Amish software developer, and it's just an entire skit, like a Funny or Die type thing. I think it'd be pretty funny.
Chat GPT write it out because I don't think
Yeah,
I have the energy to be creative like that.
yeah, and then you just record it. It's like a video vlog.
Of me milking cows.
Yeah, yeah. You started
I
an
mean, aren't
Amish
the
tech
majority of
company for
they're either going to
auto.
be farmers or carpenters, right?
I really don't know. I think carpentry is the main thing that I see with like Amish around here, but
Yeah, I was on a contract in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I swear to God, it was like an Amish convention, man. They filled up the McDonald's restaurant in the morning. They were really hard to tell apart. They all it's
they
kind
all
of like
look the same.
Orthodox. Yeah, they all had the same presentation, and they had
Jebediah
like
feeds the
very
chickens and Jacob plows.
very different accents. Because I
Maybe
think Amish
Pennsylvania
stem from
Dutch.
German. They stem from the German
Was it
like
Dutch or
lineage. Maybe it's Dutch. I think you're right. Anglo-Saxon is German.
no? Anglo-Saxon is English.
Anglo-Saxon is German.
Anglo-Saxon is Saxons are.
Anglo-Saxon is it stems from German lineage. It's German. I
Well,
understand what
maybe
you're
like
saying.
but
It's here in America, hence the prefix Anglo, right? But it's of German descent, Anglo-Saxon. You want to bet?
no, wasps are English, like white
Not talking about
Anglo-Saxon
OWASP.
Protestants.
That's a
No,
security
wasps. White
OWASP.
Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
OWASP.
They're English.
OWASP.
They're English.
The open worldwide application security. We're not talking about that. We're
Oh,
talking about
I just
Amish
said
people.
wasp, not oh. Wasp.
Anglo-Saxon.
Anglo-Saxons are English.
No, they're not. Watch. Anglo-Saxon term used historically to describe any member of the German or Germanic peoples who, from 5th century CE to the time of the Norman conquest, 1066, inhabited and ruled territories that are today part of England and Wales. So I was right.
Yeah, they're of
Germanic
Germanic descent,
peoples.
but but they're but they're generally English people.
No, that was at a later stage. Hence, inhabited and ruled territories that are today part of England and Wales. They ruled those territories. You can give me my credit. I'm Wikipedia.
So
I
they're not
study white
Celtic and they're not. Oh,
culture
yeah.
like a lot. I also know a lot about Japanese culture. Well, maybe I think I'm fairly familiar with Japanese culture
Do you know
and
the
Vietnamese.
Japanese samurai or the black samurai guy? They should do a movie on
Samuel
him.
Jackson.
No, there was like this one black
Boondocks.
samurai.
No, what?
There was like one real black samurai. His name was like
He was an African that moved to Japan.
Ya oh, what's his name? Yasuke. He was a
See
black
if I can pull
samurai
up.
in feudal Japan.
A man of African origin came to Japan to the period and became a retainer in the household. I bet you they probably treated him like trash. He died in 1582, or after 1582.
He's the
He's from
first
Mozambique.
recorded foreign-born samurai. Hmm. He was
How
the
did he get to
first.
Japan from Africa? They didn't enslave him once he like touched down.
I don't know,
I
like
find that
in
fascinating.
I think in feudal Japan, didn't they like banned white people, but I don't think black
For
people were
good
banned.
reason.
Yeah.
I'm
Dude,
surprised
there
they
is a
succeeded
on
that.
Netflix.
Well, I
There's this
mean,
good series called Blue Eye Samurai that is kind of like about how they kicked out the white people, and there were like 3 white people left in the country, and there was this
yeah.
one. Yeah. Anyways,
And then
this.
once you people mechanized and you started making their lives hard, and then that's why Japan started going to war. Or yeah,
Yeah. Now they make our Hello Kitties in our games. Just kidding.
no, you're not. It's true. You can't be kidding if they're facts. I love PlayStation and Nintendo and Sony. My Sony stock was the only one that did well 2 years ago when everything else collapsed. It was the only stock that did well. I actually had 10% gains, and everything else was like 30% losses, 50% losses, 70% losses.
So aside
Sony
from
literally held
PlayStation
up.
and so I know like so aside from PlayStation and like their movie stuff, like what does Sony do? Like what else do they like? I know they've got consumer electronics, but I don't
I
really
thought
see a lot of TVs or phones by them anymore. Like Walkmans aren't really a thing. I mean, they had a phone line, but it wasn't a popular one.
TVs, uh, video
Brevio.
games.
Maybe they're more popular outside of the States because, like, I don't know anybody who owns a Sony TV or Sony monitors anymore. And they had
I
the
mean, they're high.
Trinitron.
They're high end. The televisions, or
Yeah, they
the
used
ones that
to.
I was looking at.
Is it the Brevia or whatever? I think is the brand
I
for
don't
that.
know. I got my what was mine? I got my 60-inch like I think like 4 years ago. Mine's an LG, but I was looking at the Sony as well.
Hmm.
Uh, for what is it? Ultra high. What is it? 4,000. What is it called?
4K
4,000 HD. 4,000. What do you call
UHD.
it? 4,000 UHD
It's a 4K, right?
or 4K? Thank you. Because AKs they didn't. AK TVs were available, but they really
AKs are
didn't
done.
have the
Oh,
ecosystem
8K.
to support it.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's changed yet, but
I think there's some 8K TVs out there. I'm really
yeah,
interested in
the
getting an
ecosystem
OLED
is
monitor.
required.
I'm really interested in getting an OLED monitor. They're expensive, hella expensive, but
Mine's
man, they look
OLED.
really nice.
I purchased my TV out the door for about $3,400.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They're probably cheaper now than if you bought
You
it a
know
few
the
years ago.
motivation for me spending that much on the TV?
PlayStation.
Yep.
Or
That's when PlayStation just came out, and I was like, yo, if I'm gonna break bread, it's the same thing with my car. It's like if I'm gonna break bread, I gotta have everything premium. So
are you playing Helldivers 2 then? That's the big
no, what's that?
PlayStation game now, I think.
Really?
Isn't it Helldivers 2?
I haven't turned on my PlayStation in like 3 months.
I don't
Because
know.
all I do is play Call of Duty.
Helldivers 2 is the one I keep hearing about now. But it's not on Xbox. I think it's on PC though, but it's like
What is it?
one of
Real
the
time
big.
strategy game? What is it?
No, it's like I think it's a shooter game. I think it's just another arena mode type game. I don't really know anything about it. I should probably figure that out because it's pretty popular. But
Let's see. Let's watch it. Hold up.
all right, you got to go and download and play it, and then report back to me on how
No,
great or
I'm
bad
pulling up
it
the
is.
trailer on YouTube.
You gonna share? Or?
Yeah, I'm sharing right now.
Okay.
Oh
Fight
crap! Did
for
I
freedom
put?
begins.
Let me know if you can hear the audio. Hold up. You hear the audio?
No, but that's fine.
No, hold up. Take two.
Oh man, I've had a cough for the last couple days. It sucks.
Look at STD. Um, um, all right. Take two. Are you?
Whoa!
Oh shoot! Hold up.
It's like you're flying.
You still see it, right?
Yeah. Yep. Now I can hear the audio.
The Federation of Super Earth, keeping managed democracy safe with the lives of our heroes, protecting freedom from tyranny with
Reminds me
the
of
gentle
Star
touch
Troopers.
of an iron fist. But liberty's enemies march ever closer. Together, we must take back control of freedom.
For managed democracy.
Together for victory.
Together for liberty.
Together for liberty.
Together, they fight for freedom.
I wonder if Helldivers is what one of my friends played. It's looking super familiar.
Enlist in the galaxy's elite fighting force.
How about a little bit of liberty?
Work together to protect your future.
So Helldivers, I think, is a like a third person top down shooter. This looks like a third person, more like I don't know.
It doesn't look like groundbreaking or earth shattering.
Well, it's like one of the biggest games right now.
It doesn't look better than Call of Duty. That's why I'm confused.
Maybe it's the gameplay is just really good.
It looks like it's tailored towards like kids more than like adults. The graphics just don't look. It's not at the same level.
Okay, so my I had a friend who would stream Helldivers, the first one. He'd play that. So Helldivers 2 just must be like it, but more like first person, or it's third person still, but it's ground level versus top down. So that must be what it is. Huh. I didn't put that together before now until they started talking, because there's this line that the guys kept playing like a million times, was like, how about a nice cup of liberty? I don't know. It's stupid.
I'll do that again.
Liberty. Yeah.
I used to play Lego Star Wars on my PlayStation. That was cool.
Yeah, my kids like that. They got like my son though. He's all so we got these VR headsets. He really likes playing this game called Gorilla Tag. It's like the lowest res game ever, but it's I don't know. He's just super into it. Like you're like this gorilla, but you don't have any legs, and so you use your arms to move. And you can like climb walls, and you basically play.
Oh, you mean
tag.
Donkey Kong?
No, he's got legs.
Donkey Kong was a successful game.
Yeah, it was.
I was watching Real Engineering, and they were discussing the success of Game Boy and how it outperformed. Was it Sega Lynx? I think.
No, it wasn't the Sega Lynx. Lynx was our Atari Lynx. You're talking about the Game Gear.
It outperformed Game Gear, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. And Game Gear was superior in regards to
color graphics.
Yeah, features, but can you guess why Game Boy had more sales and was played more?
Battery life.
So you saw? Did you see the same thing, or you just know?
I just know.
Yeah.
They talk about it a little bit in there's this book actually if you want a really good listen. It's called oh god, what was it? There's a book about basically Sega and Nintendo, but it's mostly about Sega and how they took on I don't know, I listened to the whole damn thing. It was really good.
Like Nintendo is just known for accessibility, for older people and for children. Like I think they just really succeeded at having minimal peripherals or minimal
Yeah.
interfaces on the peripherals.
Console Wars by Blake J. Harris. It's a pretty good book. But yeah, it's all about the Sega taking on the Oh, there's a classic commercial for you. Remember the Sega commercials? They talk about it in that book. Sega! Everything ends with Sega!
Yeah. Sega!
Yeah, they almost went with a totally different ad agency because it was in the books for this, but they had this one so this brand this ad agency like came up with this whole campaign for Sega and then they tested it and it sucked. So like they threw it all out and like the last minute they recorded this guy in the screaming Sega. The guy was sick when he did it. And then they just like threw a bunch of shit together and threw it out there and Sega loved it. And then they ended up using it as their agency. They're like, huh. Like that their stuff was good, but this is totally different. So
Nintendo didn't really have something similar, did they?
no, Nintendo didn't really go for they always try to maintain the like wholesome family
Yeah.
order type thing where Sega was more of a like Sega's whole brand was being like edgy and against the grain and more adult driven. Which is why they allowed blood and stuff on their
I
platform.
liked Game Shark.
Yeah, a Game Shark. Or it was a Game Genie, wasn't it
Remember,
on the
remember
no.
Sega CD? I think
Yeah.
Game Shark was a game I thought for Sega CD. I thought.
A Game Shark? No, I thought Game Shark was a cheating thing, wasn't it?
Oh,
I'm thinking of Game Genie, maybe. I don't know. What was Game Shark then? Oh my god. Like
that's the internet.
Game
I think you're
Shark
right.
is a brand, a line of video game cheat cartridges. Yeah, so it's like Game Genie. But yeah, are you talking about a game that was like that? Like Echo?
So I don't understand why Dreamcast failed. I don't understand why Sega CD failed. To me, those were like I own both of them. Well, did I own Sega CD? No, my neighbor had a Sega CD, and I would go over at his house and play it in his basement, and it was like I liked it. Right, the graphics were like out of this world for the early '90s or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the Dreamcast. It, like
Jaguar.
The book
Jaguar
they didn't really get.
Was Atari.
They didn't really get into why the Dreamcast failed. They did get into a bit why the Saturn failed, but like they pushed it too hard. Right?
Well, why did the Saturn fail?
It was just they pushed it too early and they didn't have the games. I don't remember. It was
Neo Geo.
You'd like that book though. I bet it's all about it.
Neo Geo was $600, and that was like in the early '90s.
Mm-hmm. Then there was the Intellivision, the ColecoVision, and there were so many game consoles all trying to vie for the market. But Sega was actually dethroned Nintendo for a while.
When does the next generation of consoles come out?
Probably in the next couple of years. I don't know. I think.
What else can they possibly add to it?
I think Sony is on the. I think Sony's said that they're basically in the tail end now of PS5, and they're working on the next one. I don't know. Xbox is really up in the air right now because they're designing something new, but the Surface team is doing it, not the original Xbox team.
And the only thing, I mean, I can't imagine them. It sounds weird, I know, but I can't imagine them really enhancing the graphics any further. The only thing I could see them enhancing for next generation is probably
Be all
quadrupling
AI.
the hard drive space.
Now you can use your PlayStation to make you money by mining Bitcoin and Dogecoin, and it has AI capabilities.
Is that from the official like website?
No, I don't know. That'd be funny though. You know it's gonna have AI, whatever it is. New AI technologies.
AI is the new agile. Everybody says they have it. You just spray it on.
Yeah.
We
I
discussed that on Tech Conception, Odie and I.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's cool. I mean it can help you like grok information a lot faster, but that's about I don't know.
It's going to write the validation logic for my Azure functions that by consuming the Open API document.
Yeah. I don't know. I gotta get out of software before it's too late. Before the robots take over. I
I
gotta
would
be
argue
like
that was
gotta
post
switch to
pandemic. You should have got it out. That was a year ago.
I should have got out and no, I mean post pandemic was a great time to get in, but
Dude, we could be bounty hunters together, man. We could kick in doors in Minnesota.
I don't want to fight meth heads, man. Or no way.
Why not?
It'd be too terrifying. Everyone's got guns up here too.
I'll take point.
You'll be the first one shot. Why don't we just do something simple like pump septic tanks? It's a shit job, but someone's got to do it.
Oh,
No way they're gonna make robots to do it.
There's no adrenaline rush. I want to kick in doors. I want to kick in doors and serve warrants and handcuff people to the floor and then throw them in paddy wagons. Get dust off my
I
hands.
thought you were gonna apply for
I
deputy.
was, man. No, it was
Someone tried to get you to do it.
Volunteer police officer. I got distracted by all these security books.
Volunteer. Let's have an assistant to the sheriff. What about fire person? There you go.
Be a fireman? Why you say fire person? It's called fireman.
I don't know. I've got it.
I'm trying to be gender neutral, man. Come on, you can't let them do that to you. Fireman. Policeman.
I'll say postman. Do that.
Yeah.
At least I don't say pig for policeman. I wouldn't say that. I like the police mostly. Some of them are mean.
It's because you have privilege. They didn't make your life a living nightmare when you were a teenager.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't. Of course, I didn't really get in trouble with anything, so.
You don't have to. You could just be driving, and they basically say, what's the probability that if we pull this person over, we can get them for something, even if it's not really doing anything, right? And they focus on culture, and they just say, oh, well, we'll find something. And they pull you over. I promise you. Be a black adolescent driving a car, you'll get pulled over. They'll search your car.
I'm trying to get there, man.
They'll tell you sit on the sidewalk. They'll pull a K9 unit out.
I first have to get the reverse aging technology, and then I'll get the race changing technology.
I'm gonna be like Michael. I'm just gonna bleach my skin. I wish I could have done it like 20 years ago.
How does that even work? How can you is it just like a white tattoo, like a full white tattoo?
You never been overseas? You never been to like Philippines or India with all the skin whiteners?
No, there's skin whiteners.
Yes. Everybody wants to be like you.
Like me.
They want privilege.
And all the white people want to be black. That's why the tanning beds are big. I want to look exotic. Not black. Kind of more like mid-range. Latino.
They want to look Persian.
There you go. Exotic. Like a dancer. Tony Danza. What's one more? We need one more good.
What does Tony Danza have to do with a dancer or being exotic?
I don't know. I got in my head like the song Tiny Dancer.
What was her name? What was the
sounds like Tony Danza?
What was the daughter's name? Alyssa Milano.
Oh yeah.
Alyssa or Alicia? Yeah, Alyssa Milano. She's like this ultra feminist now
Yeah. No, but
slash
like
porn star.
Tiny Dancer, that Elton John song.
I
Hold
don't
me
listen to Elton
closer,
John.
Tiny Dancer. But it
The
sounds like
only
Tony
song,
Danza.
only song I know by Elton John is "Circle of Life," and that's because I'm a fan of Lion King.
Well, listen to the song Tiny Dancer by Elton John and tell me it doesn't sound like he's saying Tony Danza. Something that kids won't understand now because they don't know who Tony Danza is. But I remember he played a football player on the Philadelphia Eagles at one time
Did he?
in a movie.
He doesn't. Oh, I was going to say he doesn't look like he has
Yeah,
a physique to do that.
in a movie. He was a kicker or something.
Oh,
No, he was. Yeah, I don't remember. But hold me closer, Tony Danza.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's Tiny Dancer. You've heard Tiny Dancer, I'm sure. Britney Spears
I
did a
think
version of it. Don't listen to that though.
Elton John. Is there anything else before we I don't know, tap out?
No. I expect you to come back with a security certification next week and making six figures as a CSO. Multiple six figures, maybe seven figures.
Yeah, I was going to say 6 figures is nothing.
No, costs $50 to buy a veggie plate now.
I need
Saw
to
that on.
I need to consistently maintain 250 or higher. That's what I need to do.
I don't know how you do that.
I think I have to be a full-time employee because being a consultant, man, it's too temporary.
Yeah, I don't know outside of Fang. I don't know anybody who makes that, but maybe 250.
Yeah,
But if you take maybe total compensation,
it's called high-end consulting.
yeah, but that's not a full-time FTE role. So,
Uh,
all right,
I know. Yeah.
all right,
We'll
go
catch
listen
up.
to Tony Danza, and we'll catch up next week.
Quick question: what are you doing this weekend that you can disclose?
This weekend, there's a downtown golf pub crawl type thing that I'm doing. I think. So I got to do my 12-mile run today instead of tomorrow. Fuck.
I'm going to start my taxes, and I'm going to start writing some secure code so I could publish a blog post on it later. Blog post is probably not going to be out for another 7 to 10 days.
What kind of secure code? You should write insecure code.
So 2 years ago for a client, I wrote this framework where whenever the code is prepared to leave the system, hence you're making a call like a REST call, or you're saving to a database. Anything that does I/O, I wrote this framework where when you bootstrap the framework, you declare, I think it was called inspectors or something, right? You inject these inspectors, and then whenever you make an I/O call, these inspectors all have an opportunity to iterate through the data that's being dispatched, whether it's a request or a post or a command to save some data to some persistent store. And they have different responsibilities, these inspectors, one of which is for example, making sure that basically sniffing the data by means of recursion, and any field that it finds that is of type date time, it'll just enforce that date time is of type or format UTC. Another one was sniffing the data before it goes before it leaves the system, and checks to see if there's any data that's deemed confidential, and it'll go ahead and mask that data so that data doesn't get logged to a server, to a log server, or dispatched to a log server. So I wrote that framework a couple of years ago, and I think I'm just going to publish a blog post on it because this is to support security.
Gotcha. I'll leave you with one final thing. So I read an article or caught an article this morning or something or yesterday. Here's a security vulnerability that no one ever thought of. So they had an AI program write an AI bot generate a program, right? And it kept referencing a non-existent package, but it would just ignore it that the package didn't exist because it didn't actually use it. So somebody wrote a malicious and published that malicious package under that name, and then it got injected into this thing. I don't remember if it's Microsoft or who, but the world. So if you could get in the cross section of AI and security, man, I bet you'd be banking it. So
Do bug
but-
bounties.
yeah,
That's funny.
yeah.
Just like I thought it was funny, the whole domain DOS. Like I never even considered that.
Yeah.
Ever.
Did you catch that vulnerability that happened? It was like ZX or XZ or whatever, that one that happened like this last week.
Oh, you mean Stuxnet in Iran?
No. So like basically there's this like utility in Linux or something. I don't even know the whole extent of it. But there's this utility and that's widely used, and somebody submitted a malicious code under or a way to do a backdoor in a code review, and the guy just said look good to me, and then they merged it. So now he's like, it's kind of an infamous like pull request statement, like look good to me. Merge. So that was this last week though. It was a big vulnerability, hit all like these Linux distros.
Pull requests are jokes.
Yeah,
We
it's
can
XZ
discuss that
backdoor.
later.
Very clever. It was very cleverly hidden. Yeah, Gamler can tell you all about it. I don't know enough about it. I just know that there was this issue. This is why you don't run open source operating systems. Just kidding. Microsoft's just as vulnerable. They might have done that other one. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna go.
See ya. Thanks.
Yep. See ya.
See
All
ya.
right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Gamlor. See ya, the 17 observers that are on here. Catch up. Bye.